What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel Abroad with Jay, and I am here with a very special guest. As you know, everybody that appears on the channel is a very special guest to me. And right here I have another fellow content creator. Her name is Nikki Abreu, and she is a Dominican American who was born in the United States, spent some time here in Dominican Republic, and moved back to the US, and now she's back here. So she's yo-yoing back and forth, and hopefully this is her last sling out and she's back here in Dominican Republic for the unforeseeable future. So Nicole, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
So today she's going to share her story about her journey of growing up in the United States, spending time here, and then her decision to move back over to Dominican Republic. So I always like to start off, as always, with the guests. It's kind of for them to tell the audience a little bit about themselves, where you grew up in the United States, and what was it like growing up as a Dominican in the United States?
So I was born in New York, Queens, and I lived there until I was 5 years old. Then we moved to Orlando, Florida. Once I turned 10, my mom had to come back to Dominican Republic. So me and my brother, I was 10 at the time, my brother was around 12. And we didn't move to where our family was, which part of my family is in Santiago, part of my family is in La Vega. But for some reason, I'm not really sure where the reason came from, we moved to Jarabacoa. So when we moved to Jarabacoa, we lived in an apartment, and it was just me, my brother, and my mom. Once we started school, we did go to a bilingual school in Jarabacoa, which honestly it was the best thing ever, because I didn't know, I knew how to speak Spanish, but I didn't know how to write or read in Spanish. So going to that school really helped me out with that, and just the things that they would do, activities and everything like that, is something new and some experiences that I had never even, dreamt of. So the experience, especially in school, was completely different. And when I went to school in Orlando, I was in kindergarten, so it was just not very much activities. And once I got to the school here in Jarabacoa, it was just pretty much, we would go outside, pick up trash, and they would really be involved, not in our academics, but also in our lives. Like even to this day, I still have some teachers on my Facebook, and it's just a very, it feels like a community. So that was something that was very different to me when I first moved here, and even the neighbors and everything like that, everyone was very connected and just very welcoming.
You say you grew up in Queens?
Yes, so I was born in Queens, and I moved when I was 5. So I don't really remember much, but yeah.
So Queens, New York. So you don't hear Dominicans that were born in Queens. It's mostly Bronx or Harlem or something, Washington Heights rather. Right. But you were born in Queens. You were born in Queens. That's interesting. Did you always feel connected to your Dominican roots?
Yes. So my mom, she only speaks Spanish, and that's how I knew how to speak Spanish at a very young age. She worked at a supermarket called Bravo, which there's Bravo here, right? And there's one in Orlando as well. So
it's the same?
It's the same.
Oh, okay. Because the logos are different.
Are they?
I think the one of them was like blue and orange or something like that.
Oh, okay, then I haven't noticed.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But it was pretty simple, because when she first moved back, she started working at the Bravo, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think there's
okay.
Yeah, but so I was always pretty connected, and we would also take a lot of family trips, even when I was little. So I was always connected with the family, and also knew about rivers and all the experience of playing outside. So I was pretty much connected to my Dominican roots always.
Gotcha. Did you ever feel like in between cultures, like not fully American and not really fully Dominican? Because you
still to this day. I'm still in between. I'm in the middle still, because I still need to get some stuff out of my system, how you had commented on one of the videos of buying certain groceries. So yeah, I'm still in between the two.
Okay. After you moved back, because you moved back to New York, right?
Yes.
Is that when you actually got into real estate?
No, so I moved around a lot.
You moved around a lot.
So first it was from New York to Florida, then from Florida to Dominican Republic from the age of 10 to 16. Then from the age of 16, I took a placement test for high school, and I ended up skipping a grade. So instead of going to 9th grade, I went to 10th. So I moved up to Sarasota, Florida for a year.
Wow.
Then I came back to Dominican Republic for another year. stayed here, did 11th grade, and then I moved back to Florida and did 12th grade
Gotcha.
and graduated
Gotcha.
in Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
So at what point did you get into real estate?
So I got into real estate in Jersey.
In Jersey, okay.
That was after a while.
After a while. So what did you do before real estate?
Property management.
Property management, okay. In what, like apartment complexes or commercial building?
Yes, so I did property management for a couple of years. That's when my husband was in the military and we lived in Norfolk, Virginia. So when we lived there, I did get into renting out apartments and working for property management.
Gotcha. What are some of those challenges you came in contact with or were faced with in real estate in U.S.?
In the U.S., I would say mostly it would be the competitiveness of the situation, because once the interest rates started fluctuating so much, everyone started just getting very desperate.
Right.
So the amount of, it wasn't as easy as going to tour a house, saying I like it, putting in an offer, and just, you know, having the transition go smoothly. It was more so putting in an offer and praying that there's not 10 more.
Right.
Yeah, so that was pretty challenging because it just made it more difficult to get my clients exactly what it is that they wanted at a decent price and not having to waive certain things that are important.
Did you have any success as a real estate agent?
Yes, okay. I was able to get our 2-family in New Jersey, and I also helped a couple of families as well before I started to slow down.
And why did you get out of it?
I was doing it full time once my son started school, and once I got pregnant with our second son, that's when I started taking it a little bit slowly and started transitioning more to part time. Once he was born, and once I saw how certain things were going, and I decided to kind of take a break. And once we talked about moving, that's when I really said, well, I can't really put my all into it anymore, so I can't, you know, continue down that route.
So speaking of when you decided to move, let's talk about the decision that changed everything. What made you and your husband decide that you guys wanted to move back here to Dominican Republic?
So I said it out of nowhere at one point. I just, you know, threw it out there, the fact that I wouldn't change my childhood for anything. So the more I spoke about it with my husband and the more I continued to just speak about how my childhood was and the difference between what I was seeing my child go through, we just started weighing out the good and the bad, of course, because before making a huge decision, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. So once we saw that the pros were actually greater, we just really thought it made more sense. And the fact that, well, one thing that really topped us over the edge was that my mother's immigration process was taking forever. So during that process, I was very happy because they finally gave her interview dates, but unfortunately it kept on prolonging longer and longer. I had just given birth, so we didn't want to waste any more time. So one of the biggest reasons was my mother. We ended up moving over here since everything was taking too long, and the fact that we have more family, it just made the process easier.
It sounds like that was a blessing in disguise.
Yes, I feel, and that's what I tell my husband.
Because I was going to ask you, what was that turning point that you experienced that you knew you had to move back here? Was it because your mom couldn't get her visa? Was that what it was?
So that was one of the things that was really making the decision easier. The fact that I was going to be with her, and the fact that she could help me, and the fact that she wanted to help me, but unfortunately couldn't just make it that, you know, simple. But the other reason is schooling. So the fact that I went to school here and I know how the school system works here, I wanted that for my child, and I want him to be able to feel more confident, learn Spanish, and experience something different, because over there everything's pretty, you know, like he loved his school there, we loved the school there, but it's just him being able to experience something so new and different is a blessing. So he did go to a field trip to a waterfall the other week, and it's something that he's going to remember. Gotcha.
And was it scary at first, the decision, and did you ever doubt it?
Yes. I'm going to be very honest, yes. When we first moved, I mean, a lot of people have told me that the first year of the move is the most difficult. So it's been multiple
I
people
agree.
that tell me that. And, you know, I kept that in mind when we first moved here because everything was a little bit, you know, trying to get into the groove of things and medical insurance and certain things that you just have to get ready and things that you don't think about because you're established
Right.
where you're at. So when you move somewhere, there's certain things that you never really thought you really need. So that's something that we had in the back of our head. And of course, once it got stressful, you do question it.
Right.
So I'm not going to say that we never questioned it, we did, but once you pretty much come to the conclusion that it's worth it, nothing else really matters. You just have to keep on going.
Right.
Yeah.
So did your family and friends support this? I know your mom did, or did you get any pushback?
We got a lot of pushback.
A lot of pushback.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So we got a lot of pushback. Just, you know, well, it's very realistic, the questions that they were asking us of, are you planning on retiring? We're not planning on retiring. We're still young. We still have plans. We still have goals. But our reasoning is it doesn't mean that it's going to stop anything.
Right.
We're still trying to push. We're still trying to grow. It's just wanting a better living for us and for our kids. And that's something that we do believe that we'll be able to find here and have found here so far.
And how did you just explain this decision to your kids? And how did they react?
So my son at first was scared and he was sad because all the friendships that he made, he had a best friend that lived 3 minutes away from us. But when we started letting him know every time we travel out there, you know, you see your cousins, you see your family, and you're gonna make a lot of new friends. Thank God, he's a very outgoing kid. So he was very open to it, and once we finally got here, he saw how easily he made a friend within the first 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
So that opened his mind, and he felt more comfortable just going outside playing, and he started to slowly understand that it's going to be simple.
So do you think if you wouldn't have moved back right now, would you have done it later?
No. No.
Why not? Why not?
Because I feel like if you don't do it now, when? I mean, honestly, we had thought about retiring out here at first, but once we really sat down and, you know, thought about the process of the move, we said, why wouldn't we just do it right now when our kids are young? They can experience new things, and that's going to help their character. I mean,
Absolutely.
that just made it so much easier.
So how did you prepare yourself, your husband, and your kids for this move? Because from my understanding, your husband hadn't made the move as of yet. So how did you prepare him to say, hey, I'm going out there, but you got to stay here, and I'm taking the kids?
Right. So
It didn't happen like that, but that's kind of what really happened.
Right. So at first, it's funny because it was actually his reasoning. At first, I did believe that we were going to be able to move all together because the plan was to just rent. We weren't planning on buying a house yet, buying land yet. But once we took a couple of trips out here and we saw a couple of properties for rent, but also for sale. And we ended up investing into a plot of land. And once we thought about the process of building, we found out that, you know, it's simpler to go ahead and just start now. And the way that we're planning it out is pretty much, we don't want to let go of the income that we're currently making, even though we can sustain ourselves here. We still want to continue to grow, as I had previously said. So the way that we planned it out is pretty much at least for a year while we are transitioning into everything. We are going to have him live over there, me live over here as I settle in here and as he continues to do what he needs to do over there. And if I'm being honest, it has been easier for all of us, not in the sense of we miss each other and of course we're spending time away, but in this transition where I understand that if I ever need to go back for any type of emergency, he's still there and we're able to plan certain things out a little bit better that way.
Were there any challenges that you didn't see coming as you transitioned?
So the challenges of healthcare.
Healthcare, yeah.
Yeah, so in Jarabacoa, it's a very small city. So there are clinics there, but the healthcare is different. And we've had a couple of incidents where I've had to take the kids to the emergency room, and it's just a little bit different because they don't have all of the equipment that you would find, let's say, if you go to a regular emergency room. So that has been a little bit more of a challenge.
So let's go ahead and talk about Jarabacoa, since you mentioned Jarabacoa. Why Jarabacoa? Why did you specifically choose Jarabacoa or Jarabacoa over Santo Domingo or Punta Cana?
So when I used to live there, I always felt the sense of community the second I arrived, and that hasn't changed. The second we arrived here, all of our neighbors came to introduce themselves, and we all just become acquainted super quickly. The way that I see Jarabacoa, it's of course cheaper than certain areas, but even though it is growing economically, I do believe that it still holds that sense of peace that I really longed for. So coming from New York, New Jersey, I mean, coming to Jarabacoa, it's something that is completely different, and you don't get the rush, you don't get the feeling that everyone just has to be somewhere. It's more peaceful, and I'm not really familiar with the capital. I used to come when I was a kid, but just for like class field trips and stuff, so I just felt more grounded and more connected to Jarabacoa.
What's the adjustment been like in adjusting to Jarabacoa?
It's been simple. I still have certain friends that live there from when I went to school, so it has been simple adjusting, going to the gym, finding supermarket. I mean, I already knew where certain things are. I'm still getting adjusted with other things, but it has made the process simpler since it's very familiar.
Familiar, right? And your family's actually from La Vega, though, right?
La Vega and Santiago.
Santiago, okay. And what do you love most about Jarabacoa?
I love the community.
And how are your kids adjusting to Jarabacoa compared to the United States?
They spend way more time outside. They spend so much time outside. I mean, they're outside until my son gets home from school, finishes what he has to do, goes outside until he has to take a shower.
Right.
So.
And you have boys, so that's good that they're able to go outside.
They get all their energy.
Right. Speaking of your kids always outside, have you noticed any difference in raising them here in Dominican Republic, Jarabacoa specifically, compared to the U.S.?
Yes. So my son, his confidence level has gone up. His confidence has gone up. He's been learning new things, and that's without us even trying to teach him. So he grabbed a bike. He learned how to ride a bike without the training wheels. He learned how to swim. And that's something that even in the States, when we would go to a pool, he wouldn't want to duck his head under the water, and he would be very scared to, just try new things. Right now, he is more open to trying new things, and he's more confident.
Why do you think that's so?
I think because he sees all the other kids and how they are, so it kind of rubs off on him.
Have you found it easy to meet people and build community here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 100%.
And in what way?
They just, pretty much everyone just comes up to you. Nobody's scared to talk to you. So it's pretty much you can go outside and somebody has the amabilidad to come up to you and just say hi and introduce themselves. Like, people here are, like I said, just very friendly. So I don't think anyone's ever scared or ever too shy to just come introduce themselves and have a conversation with you.
Right. It's not part of the culture. So do you feel safer and supportive in raising your kids here?
Yes, I do. I do. And not just because of family, but also because of the people around us.
Exactly. What's a typical day look like for you?
A usual weekday would be me getting up in the morning around 6:30 and getting ready to drop off my son at school around 8 o'clock. Once that's done, I go to the gym for at least an hour, and every day I have to do grocery shopping. So I mean, that's something that's an everyday thing. So stop by the grocery store. Once I get home, my mom starts to cook, and I start, since I'm doing content creation, I do start to either plan out my week or start my content creation, which is just editing videos and also replying to emails. After that, just picking up my son. He has soccer practice or Spanish tutoring in the afternoon, and that's pretty much what it looks like.
Speaking of your mom, how does your mom feel having you back here?
She's happy. She's very happy.
And how supportive has she been in helping you with the kids?
She is probably the most supportive person I can probably, I know right now, because she helps me with the kids, and not only with the kids, but also with the house and any type of things that we have to do, cook or go to the supermarket, go take my son his lunch at school. She's very supportive.
Yeah. What's the biggest cultural shift that you've experienced since returning?
The biggest would be, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, because there are certain things that, of course, you're not used to, but I'm kind of used to, so it's a mix.
Right. Even though you lived here for about 6 years of your life before you moved back, how often did you come back and forth here between that time?
1 or 2 times a year.
1 or 2 times? Okay. So yeah, it's not too much of a culture shift for you.
Right. I already knew kind of how stuff works. So,
right.
yeah.
Especially if you were coming to Jarabacoa, nothing really too much changes over there.
Right. Since it's so small, I mean, everything's pretty much the same.
Right. It's pretty much the same. Not like Santo Domingo, you go for 10 years.
Yeah.
You come back in 10 years, like,
there's something new.
Yeah, something new, yeah. How have your friends or family, what are their opinions like now that time has passed? You've been over here how long?
Since June.
Since June. I guess it hadn't been long enough for them. They still think, hey, she's gonna be back. Or,
oh no. They all know I'm not.
Yeah.
They all know that this is where we're building our life, so they're very supportive, and they all want to come visit. So.
That's cool. That's cool. Sometimes you got to make believers out of people.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you think people think that you can't have a life over here?
I believe it's because of the opportunities that they see outside of Dominican Republic. They don't know the opportunities that there would be here, and they see Dominican Republic as a place where people just come to retire.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food spot in Jarabacoa?
La Baita. And it's funny because it's Italian.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think you told me about that when I was there.
Yes.
You recommended it. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
It's very good Italian food, and me and my husband, that's our #1 spot.
So if these same friends and family came to visit you, where would you tell them to go?
So I would take them horseback riding, I would take them to the river, I would also take them to a couple of restaurants, one for breakfast, one for lunch, one for dinner, because of course there's different options.
What's the breakfast one you'll take to them?
I mean...
Somebody tried to take me with this tostones or something like that?
Tostados?
Tostados. Yeah.
Okay, have you gone there? I've only had the coffee from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've only had the coffee from there, so I can't really say much. But I mean, Café Colao, that's like the place that you want to go, since it's very known, touristy, and for the pictures, for videos, and for lunch, I would definitely say to try out Fresco, because that's another place that's very. And for dinner would be La Baita, for let's say a wine and some Italian food.
I didn't try that. I like Italian food. I'm a pasta guy, so yeah.
It's great, and that's coming from someone that lives in Jersey.
Right. Okay.
I had a lot of Italian food, so I would say that La Baita is great.
So when people see people like you and me living here in Dominican Republic, the #1 thing they say is, how do they do it? How is she earning a living over here in Dominican Republic? So how are you supporting yourself over here?
So as we had previously said about my husband still living in the US, this is a different way to do it, but since he is currently working over there, we do receive multiple sources of income, as I am trying to build my source right now with content creation, and it's going very well. We do still have real estate in the US, we do still have different sources of income, and I will be making a video on that soon.
Do you see yourself returning to real estate here in Dominican Republic since you have experience in the States? Do you want to do that here too?
It's something that has gotten brought up. I will be thinking about it, but as of right now, I'm trying to focus one thing at a time, and until I can get more information on certain things, I don't believe I'll be that comfortable until, at least I get some insights of how that works here.
Seems like that US real estate and put a bad taste in them.
It's done differently. It is done differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You talked about your content creation, and I definitely want to talk about that, because that's how I came in contact with you, is through your content. Specifically on TikTok. I'm looking at TikTok, all of a sudden this girl comes through my feed and all these views, and I'm like, who is that? So what got you into content creation?
So it's something that I've always liked, even with real estate. I do have my own real estate page on Instagram that also grew, and once I realized how much I enjoyed making the videos, I just knew that it's something that I've always had in me to kind of create and be creative with certain things. So I did enjoy it, and I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, you know, and I can tell, and I think I told you this the time when you and your husband and I spoke, that I could tell that you enjoy making content. I like the way you make your content.
Thank you.
The style is really refreshing. And you know, we're gonna let you guys know where to go to find them, but we want to talk about our content first. But I really enjoy your content.
Thank you.
What is your what platform do you use the most? Because like I said, I first saw you on TikTok, and then that same video was on Instagram, and it immediately shot to 1 million. So how was that? What was that like? And did you know that video was gonna like take off when you?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
And I think, and that's typically what happens when you make content that you're not even making it for the views. You're making it because it's authentic to what was happening in the moment. And you could tell when you look at that video, that was just all authentic.
It was one day where me and my husband were still packing, and I told him, grab the tape, we're gonna make a video real quick. So that was within like 10 minutes that I told him we were gonna do that. Once we finally moved here, that's when I posted it. When we hit the 1 million views, I did feel surprised because of course it's something that I wasn't really planning on, but it's something that pretty much just sparked more creativity in me to continue to post and to continue to show this journey, where a lot of people showed the interest that they want to see how it's going, because of course, like a lot of people just like us, where we were planning and we were doing so many things that we didn't know. I know that there's a lot of other people out there. So once I saw the interest, I immediately had to continue and, you know, spark more ideas, but make it my own. So with the content that I've been posting, I've just been showing the journey, because a lot of people, of course, want to know certain things, like certain important things, but they also want to see how life is here. And that's something that I love to show. So of course, still trying to stay private, but showing as much as I can, just to make it more comfortable for other people that are also looking to do something similar. And the platform that I usually use, something that I'm more confident with, is Instagram at the moment. So Instagram and TikTok, I do try to post as consistently as possible, but I am trying to grow on YouTube as well.
But yeah, getting 1 million views is not an easy feat. So I applaud you for that right there. I applaud you for that. And one thing that I like that I'm starting to see here in the content creation space in Dominican Republic, I don't know how involved or how much you focused on content here in Dominican Republic prior to you moving, but there was a time where the content that people made was really negative about DR. And what I'm starting to see is content where people who are moving here and they're actually showing their lives, and it's positive content. You know, my wife in the beverage, when she first came out, her content was, you know, lifestyle in Dominican Republic. Then I stepped on and I started creating content. Then you got people like yourself, you got Jay and Nikki Abreu, you got Jonah, you got other content creators here that the content is positive. Did you experience that when you first started watching DR content, or did you come in right when that shift happened where, you know, you don't see too much of that negative stuff anymore?
I definitely saw a good mix, but when we were planning the move, I did see a lot of your videos. Me and my husband would sit down and watch a lot of Jay and Nikki Abreu as well, just more information about the move and stuff like that. So that's how I knew that this was a topic a lot of people are interested in. A lot of people are looking to just kind of feel more comfortable when they're trying to make such a big life decision. But yes, I did see a good mix of both. Good.
And how do you balance content creation with your family?
With my family, I try to include them in certain ways. Of course, like I said before, I do want to be a little bit private, but I do try to include them. That way it's not just me working off to the side and just having them do their own thing. It's more so us either going out, doing something together, and me just kind of showing what that looks like. And, you know, just showing what a regular day, a regular lifestyle would look like here for anyone who is a mom, who does have a family, and is probably feeling a little bit uncomfortable because they don't know what that would look like in another country.
And how did content creation help you connect with, you know, people, other expats and locals?
So a lot of other content creators like yourself and Jay and Nikki Abreu, they have reached out because of, just how social media works, right? So it has been great to receive that, not just support, but honestly just that friendship of somebody else that has gone through something similar and is honestly still going through something similar with the content creation.
I mean, you can't deny a person that gets 1 million views on Instagram. I mean, you have to acknowledge them.
Thank
what I'm
you.
saying? You have to acknowledge them. So, do you see yourself staying here permanently?
Yes, I do. I see us building the life that we have always, dreamt of, thought about here in DR.
So now that you're back in Dominican Republic, what do you see yourself doing next?
I do see myself growing more with content creation. I do love exploring Jarabacoa, and I do want to be more of like a go-to person if somebody's looking outside of, other areas of Dominican Republic, and be the go-to person for Jarabacoa, where I do love exploring new businesses, whether it be furniture stores, whether it be restaurants, and just be the go-to person for certain recommendations.
Right.
And also with the family, of course, be united.
Because I can't let her take my Santo Domingo now.
Yeah.
That's my spot.
There you go. You got it. You got it.
There's a lot of people that want to know other areas outside of Santo Domingo, outside of Punta Cana, outside of Puerto Plata, Sosúa, Cabarete. And there is not a person who's actually talking about Jarabacoa, Constanza, and La Vega, which I hear people a lot say, oh, I like those areas. So you being a go-to person there, I think would be it's very much needed. So
right,
yeah.
And I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
Are you trying to start any type of business, get into investing in real estate? What are your plans, or you and your family's plans?
Real estate is always the way to go. That is one thing that we continue to speak about. Business plans, I do have a lot of things on my mind. I have a whole Pinterest board about it. So that is something that, comes a little bit later on. So right now we're taking it one step at a time with certain things, but there are a lot of plans for us.
If you could change one thing that'll make life easier for people who want to transition to Dominican Republic, what would that be?
I would say more of a checklist on certain things,
Right.
more of an organization, and just certain things that people don't know about here, having something to kind of check off the list, because there are a lot of things that, like I said before, you don't think about until you move. So just being a little bit more prepared and having someone, either a mentor or something like that, make it easier for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Like how you and Jamie have separate things that help people out.
Exactly, exactly. For other Dominican Americans who want to transition here, what advice would you give them?
So it took us about 1.5 years to plan out everything that we needed. But if you have more time, I would say take as much time as possible, because you never want to forget something important. So I would say to definitely try to subscribe to people like Jay and also Jamie Gruber, where they have even communities that you can grow and learn a lot from. So I would say to just do your due diligence when it comes to certain things, because there's a lot of things that you might not know that would be very essential before you make such a big move.
Yeah. Me being a content creator, I get a lot of Dominican Americans who watch my content. For the first time, I've seen a lot of them want to return back to Dominican Republic, but they are scared. Why do you think they're scared?
The unknown. I mean, everything is pretty comfortable in the States, of course, with, like I said before, medical, when it comes to everything's pretty much just laid out. Here, you get here and you don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know either how real estate works when it comes to finding an apartment. You don't know how getting a car insurance, like there's so many things that it's a little bit more difficult to know. And I believe that's where the fear comes from.
But they also act as if, and I agree with that, but they act as if it's not possible or it's just so hard to do. And I'm like, I'm a gringo, and I did it. And this is your country. Why do you think you cannot do it?
I believe because people, they have it's if you work in the United States, that income, if you make it here, it's trying to figure out how to do that. Because of course, if you make the income that is made here, unfortunately, you're not probably going to be able to have that same lifestyle. So I think that's also something that is a thought process. Before you move, how do you make that US money in order to live a certain lifestyle here? Another thing that I would say is travel out here as much as you possibly can before the move. That way, either you can find an apartment, you can find out certain things in person, because that would make it way easier.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So for people who want to move here, what I like about Dominican Republic is there are different types of lifestyles you can live here. You can live in the city like me, Santo Domingo. You can live in a beach town like Puerto Plata. You can also live in a tourist beach town like Punta Cana, really heavy tourism. Or you can live in places like Jarabacoa in the mountain areas. People always ask me, what's the best place for me to live? How would you answer that?
If you're trying to get away from the city, definitely look more into a calm area. But I would say, again, due diligence, that's the most important thing that you can do. Travel out here, and let's say if you have that time to plan out the move, travel out here multiple times, check out different places, check out Santo Domingo, check out Punta Cana, and just see what areas look and feel more like home to you. Because there's different airports. You can go to Santiago, you can check out Santiago, that's another area that's city-like, but it's close enough to Jarabacoa. So if you still like the city life, but want something that's maybe a weekend getaway, you know, like maybe 40-minute drive to a weekend getaway, like Jarabacoa, try that out. Or if you like somewhere like Jarabacoa, that's more of a small town, I would just say make sure to travel and check out different places before making that move.
Yeah. So a lot of people say that Dominican Republic has become expensive. What do you think when it comes to like the cost of living here?
It's still less. It's still way less than certain things in certain areas that you would see in the US. Like when it comes to groceries, I can see that. I can see how it has gone up in pricing, because when I used to live here, of course, about 10 years ago, the pricing for certain things were different. But rent is still cheaper. Electricity, for me personally, is still cheaper as well. And just certain things that we like to do, going out to eat, that stuff, you know, is a little bit more expensive because of restaurants that we go to and stuff like that. But other things like rent is going to continue to be in a very affordable price range.
If you don't mind sharing, what is your total overhead per month?
Total, I believe it would be, I honestly don't know. I would have to sit down and calculate absolutely everything. In the previous YouTube video that I made, I went through the expenses, but I said that I would do it monthly. So I will be doing that. But
what was it in that video?
That video, I believe it was, I don't think I calculated the entire thing.
You think you're under 2,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, under 2,000.
Yeah,
So,
and that's mostly groceries that add up.
Right,
Yeah.
right, under 2,000. What do you pay to get your hair done?
Like 700 pesos.
700 pesos, which is like $13.
Yeah.
And what do you pay for your nails?
My nails, they're about, depending on gel and everything, it could be about 1,000 for like my feet and my nails.
So hair and nails only $30, guys. That people don't look at those type of savings. They only look at rent and they only look at food.
Right.
You gotta look at maintenance. You gotta look at if something happened to your car, the labor, you know, things like that. You gotta look at everything in a totality, not just rent and food, because yes, those are going to be a little bit higher, but I mean, where can you go and get your nails and your hair done in the States for less than $30? Nowhere. So
hair alone is 50.
It depends on what you get, because I know some ladies.
It's just that hair. It's just a blow dry.
Right.
It would be 50.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So I think that's all I have, and I want to thank you, Nicole or Nikki. What should I call you, Nikki or Nicole?
You can call me Nikki.
Nikki, for sharing your story and your experience, and I hope other Dominican Americans watch this and say to themselves, hey, you know, I can do it too. Dominican Republic is not the same country that it was for those who left in the 80s and the early 90s. It's totally different. I challenge you guys to come back here, check it out. If you don't like it, you can always return back to the United States. And that has always been my thought process, that if it doesn't work out, doesn't mean I'm a failure. That means I just go back to my home country. Like I just mentioned, there are a lot of people that message me all the time and say, hey, I want to come back to the Dominican Republic, but I don't know how to do it. So Nicole is an example of one of these people that was able to do it and is doing it. and she doesn't want to go back. Before we go, where could they find you at on your socials?
So Instagram and TikTok, it's Nikki Abreu, and my YouTube is Nikki Abreu. So all the same throughout all platforms.
Okay. So guys, make sure you go ahead and on all her socials, follow her on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to have to get her back active on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will.
So guys, remember, always keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Always live in the present, because that's the only way you're going to live your best life. And we out.
I
Peace.
love that phrase. I love that.
You like that?
You both got my best life, yeah. You both got my best life, yeah. Something you and me, oh. You both got my best life, yeah. Jumping, flexing,